Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Paul Verdugo. I'm here to give you some safety tips on this monsoon season and monsoon seasons to come. All I ask is you guys can share this information with your friends, your family, anybody that likes to enjoy the outdoors, especially during this time of the year where we're getting rain in the desert and we're getting some waterfalls. The water is warm. It's just super beautiful out there. But it comes with risk when you're going outdoors, especially me, where I'm going out in the canyons and I love to just go swimming, things like that. So there is a way for you guys to be able to predict those flash floods. And rather than just people saying, hey, stay safe out there, I'm going to tell you how to stay safe. So what you're trying to do is, one is know what the weather is going to be like out there. And you can easily do that with the radar app on your smartphone. NBOAA, I believe, is a weather app that is like less than $1 a month. That will give you the ability to look at the forecast in the mountains, for example. I'm going to talk about the Tinka Verde area, so I'm always looking at the Rincon Mountains to see what kind of weather we're going to have. Second, very, very important, is there are online remote rain gauges. So there are actually rain gauges all over Pima County, and especially in the mountains where I am going to be at in the Rincons. So I'm looking at those rain gauges all over the mountains because those feed the canyons that I'm going to be at. So I'm looking at what kind of water level did we get in those rain gauges. Same website also has STREAMFLOW gauges. That STREAMFLOW will actually tell you how much water is coming down in volume. It's actually measured in cubic feet per second. And all I'm doing is, hey, what's that number? It's very simple. What is that number? And a lot of times that number might be 0. Right now it's 0. But after enough rain, I'm going to see that water spike up, and it might jump up to 100. I've even seen it up to 1,000. But all it takes is a little bit of rain to make that water really go up, especially once those canyons are running. So it becomes very, very dangerous once those canyons are running and we continue to get rainfall. So I'm going to give you those things on the computer, and we're going to go through those in detail. The next website is very similar. USGS is it has STREAMFLOW gauges as well, and it also measures some rainfall. Those are scattered across the United States. Very, very, very helpful. So we're going to go through that as well in detail. Additionally, some safety tips is wear backpacks when you're out there. That way your hands are free when you're out hiking. Obviously, bring lots of water. I can't emphasize that enough. And I'm guilty of it myself, where I don't bring enough water because I end up being outdoors exploring just a little bit further, and before you know it, you didn't carry as much water as you should have. So do that. Bring some really good hiking shoes. Even the ones that I bought from Payless, they're made by Safety Step. They're like $50 or something like that, but they work really well, not only in the water, but when you're getting out of the water, those rocks are no longer slippery like if you had those old beat up pair of shoes that you keep in the garage. Don't wear those. Also study the area. Before you go out there, Google Earth it, YouTube it, talk to your friends, learn as much information as you can before you go outdoors, so that you know where the high grounds are, and just so you know what in the world you are doing before you go do it. Bring your smartphone, get that volume all the way up, and make sure you have a good charge. Pima County will issue flash flood alerts, and those are the websites I want to give you. That's where the information comes from. But if you get that flash flood alert, you can actually hear it if you have that volume all the way up. So keep that on you at all times, that smartphone. Don't bring alcohol, don't bring drugs. It doesn't mix very well out there. Your behaviors will change and you think you're fearless until a flash flood comes and you're fearing for your life. You don't want that. And so, especially if you're bringing your family or your friends, that's our responsibility to make sure that everybody is safe. Another tip I recommend is to hike in the morning. And the reason why is because those microbursts usually happen in the afternoon after it's been heating up throughout the day. So that's what I definitely recommend doing that. Also, it's not so hot. So that's a good tip. Also, when those washes are running, be very careful when you cross them. When those signs are up that say do not cross, don't cross it. That's against the law. You'll get fined, and that's even if you make it. I know it's frustrating at times because I've been through those washes where it's barely any kind of water, just a little trickle, and that sign is still up, but don't cross it because it is against the law. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through on the computer, and I'm going to go through those websites for you guys so that we can study and see what kind of things that I look for before my hike and actually during the hike. I keep that smartphone on me at all times so that I'm looking, checking the weather, checking that radar, and if there is rain, I'm looking at those rain gauges to measure that rain. And then lastly is if there is rain, hey, did it actually have enough water to cause a stream flow gauge to have a spike in water level. All right, so we are at the website, Pima County website. Read this, click I agree. Anything above an inch is going to show in red. That's usually pretty dangerous. And then just look at those there. I'm going to close this out. Here are the Rincon Mountains, and here are the Catalina Mountains, specifically Mount Lemmon. I'm going to go ahead and zoom this in a bit. So if we look at today, we got a lot of rain today, and I do know that we got nearly 3 inches of rain here. This one and this one are rain gauges in these feed Seven Falls, and so I do know Seven Falls probably flash flooded today just because 3 inches of rain and something that's already been saturated with water, that is a lot of water. Over here, Sabino Canyon near Marshall Gulch, all in this area, and all of this feeds Sabino. The other one that's pretty popular here, my favorite here in Tucson, is Tinca Verde Falls, which is around this area. Well, all of these feed Tinca Verde Falls. So when these pick up a lot of rain, I do know it's going to flood here. So take a look and just kind of play with this, get familiar with the rain. Again, this is a lot of water, but if this happened in like an hour, I do know at this point this would flash flood like crazy in the Tinca Verde because, again, the ground is already wet, and especially if the water's already running and we get something like that, that water is just going to raise big time. So play with it. We'll go on to the next on the stream flow. Alright, so this is how I know whether or not Tinca Verde Falls is even running in some of these other areas. So notice that Tinca Verde, this is at Chiva Tink, so this is nearly to the side canyon where Chiva Falls is. Zero water there. There's Tinca Verde Guest Ranch. Let's take a look over here. Seven Falls Trailhead. Okay, so this is the Sabino Creek. This one, the water looks like it's starting to come down now. So that's a good amount of water, 117. And actually it's going up as we look at this. So we must have gotten some water up there earlier today, maybe just a few hours ago. But the Seven Falls one, I do know that we got water and it is running up there. I don't think we have a stream flow gauge for it though. So just play with these. Again, this is Pima County only, and we're going to go over to the USGS so that we can see all over the United States. Alright, so we're at the USGS website. Go ahead and click OK and use my location. So here is Tucson again. There are stream flow gauges all over, but what I kind of want to show you guys is the recent flash flood that happened in Havasu Pai. I actually was there about a week ago, and I was lucky that that didn't
didn't happen while I was in there. Fortunately, everyone got out safe. But let's take a look up here. So let's see here. It's going to take me a second here. There's Williams. Peach Springs over here. So here we go. Here's Havasupai area. So I bet one of these is Havasu Creek. Okay, here we go. So we're going to click on that. If we notice the discharge, it's pretty steady around 60, 65 cubic feet per second there at the creek. If you notice, pretty steady. But then between July 11th and July 12th, we see a flash flood happen. Again, we see a spike in the water flow. So this actually got probably 800, right about 800 cubic feet per second at first, and then it dropped down over the course of probably a couple hours or so, and then the next wave of water came down and actually broke up to, goodness, at one level it's 1,700 cubic feet per second. Not for very long, but that initial wave, and then it's again quickly dies down. But these flash floods are extremely dangerous. So again, this is volume of water, and this is what you want to look at. But this is all over the United States. You can take a look and just play with this. Click back, 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 and you can go to anywhere you want. So again, I'm always looking at Tucson. There's another canyon down here that I like, Car Canyon, but in order for me to know if Car Canyon's running, I just look at its neighboring one, which is Ramsey Canyon. And I notice no discharge, so that means nothing. It's been 0. So I know not to go to Car Canyon right now because there's no water flow anywhere down there in those mountains. So it's those little tricks that I use.